Okay, so now we're going to make some pasta. With this practical, okay, we're going to be cooking it on Friday. So what you're going to be doing today is you're just going to be making the pasta, wrapping up the dough, and then putting it into the fridge until the next day. Okay. So in my bowl, I have my pasta flour. So generally, you would want 00 flour because it is more refined. Okay, it's really fine. It has a low gluten content, but because the grain is actually so incredibly fine, then it stretches. It allows the flour and the dough to stretch. Okay, and when you're making pasta, you want it to be able to stretch, especially if you're using a pasta machine. Then that will stretch it out until it gets to the correct thickness that you want it to be at. So it depends on what you're going to be making. So we're going to be making kind of tagliatelle style pasta, okay, but don't worry about that until the next day when I'll do about making the pasta and rolling it out and cutting it. Alright, so I have my pasta. Oh, I don't have my pasta. I have my flour in my bowl. Okay, and I have one egg. So usually the rule of thumb, or my rule of thumb anyway, is 100 grams of flour to one egg. Okay, 100 grams of flour and one egg. So if you go by that, then if you need a small bit more water or egg, then I'll go through about how you need to do that, but how you have to be really careful as well. Okay, so I'm going to break my egg up into a separate bowl, okay, and why I'm doing this, if we were in the lesson, I'd be asking you, okay, so why I'm doing it is to make sure that there's no blood in it that needs to be taken out, and to make sure there's no shell, okay, and if any shell falls in, then I can always just take it out. Whereas it's much harder if it's in the bowl. It's much harder to take it out because you might take out some flour as well, and you want to change the consistency as least, not consistency, but the amount as least as possible. Okay, so if you take out flour, you're changing it because you then won't have 100 grams of flour in it. Okay, so with my knife, I'm just going to crack it. Some people can crack it at the edge of the bowl, okay, but this is kind of a good way to do it if you are unsure. Alright, so putting my egg into the bowl, right, and it looks fine. I'm going to just put it into, I have the holder, so Miss Horsfield was very nice and she broke it up so I could put it into it, okay, but remember, raw egg is really dangerous because you could get salmonella from it, okay? And then with my knife, I'm just going to whisk it up. You can use a fork to whisk it up as well if you want, but since I have the knife with me, then I'm just going to use it. Okay. So, in my bowl now, you need to make a well in the center, okay, so you're making a hole in the center, and you're going to pour your egg in. Usually you want a medium size egg, okay, and then from the center, you're going to work outwards, trying to get as much of the flour mixed in with the egg as possible. Now you might find that you can do it all, and that's great, but the thing with adding some water into it is that even the smallest bit extra can completely ruin the pasta. Okay, and if you add too much water, you have to add more flour, and it's changing it, and then it won't work. So you need to make sure that if you do need to add any, that you are literally adding drop by drop. Okay, you should not be adding in teaspoons of it because you literally will probably only need a couple of drops if you need any at all. Okay, so I'm just going to take the dough off of the knife, and I'm going to then go out with my hands. Okay, I'm going to bring it together with my hands so I can see if I actually need any more. Okay, so I can see already, oh, I don't know if you can see, I can see that I am going to need a small bit more. Okay, a small bit of water, but I might actually be able to get just drain more of the egg in. Okay, sometimes some might be left in the bowl that you put it into. Okay, now remember, if you're adding any more liquid, then it needs to be done onto the dry areas. So if you put it onto this part of the dough that's nicely together, it's just going to make that more wet, and it won't bring this part of your flour, of your dough together. Okay, so what I'm going to do, oh, I never actually got some water. Okay, I'm going to go and get some water. Okay, so I have some water, but like I said, you only want to use a drop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make sure your area is clean. Okay, so I've cleaned and I've sprayed my place, my area, but make sure yours is. Okay, so I'm literally going 3 drops. Okay, I'm bringing it together. I would just use my hands now, to be honest. Okay, so there are more together. Okay, and I'm going to use a couple more drops. Now, if I used a whole teaspoon, then it would be ruined by now. Okay, because even the drops that I've put in don't equate to a whole teaspoon of water. Okay, and you'll see that it's bringing it together now. Okay, so I'm going to put back in this dough, and so I can bring it all together. Okay, so I literally added in, after the egg, I added in 6 drops of water, and it's brought it all together. Okay, what you can see, I'm going to move my bowl out of the way. What you can see is that it's all kind of wrinkly. Okay, it's not smooth, and that is fine. Okay, a lot of people think that it needs to be smooth, but actually what you do then is when you knead it, then it will become smooth. Okay, so remember, to knead it, you fold the dough in half with the palm of your hand, push it away, turn it a quarter, fold it in half, palm of your hand, push it away. Okay, fold in half, palm of your hand, push it away. Okay, so you need to do this for about 10 minutes. Okay, 5-10 minutes. What I'm going to do is, when you get to this stage, okay, you can pause it. Now, if you need a bit of flour to go onto your area, then do put some flour. Okay, I might need to get some to put on. Okay, at this stage, pause the video, okay, and knead it, because what I'm just going to do is I'm going to skip when I edit this. I'm going to cut out the part for the length of time that I'm kneading, but I will tell you how long I've been kneading for and what it looks like at the end. Okay, so this is what my dough looks like after 7 minutes. Okay, it's quite smooth. Okay, you can see it's quite stretchy. Okay, I know it's kind of become a bit wrinkled there again, but I could just simply knead it again and it will become smooth again. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap that in some cling film and I'm going to put it into the fridge, or if you have a box or something to put it into, then that's fine. You can do that as well. And then on Friday, or when you're making the pasta, take it out early of the fridge, okay, because you want it to kind of get to room temperature so that it will be easy to handle again. And you're going to need it for a few minutes then again when it's out of the fridge, just before you roll it out and cut it into your tagliatelle shapes, okay? When you need to put your vegetables as well into a container or into a bag, and they need to go into the fridge as well. Okay, I did forget to say that in the last video, but since you're doing vegetables and pasta in one day, then that is fine. Okay, so it doesn't take that long to do it, especially because you have only 100 grams. Then it doesn't take as long to knead it as if you had like 200 or 300 grams. Okay, so it doesn't take that long, so make sure that you wrap it up properly. Okay, make sure it's all wrapped up, otherwise it will get ruined. Get into the fridge and then take it out early on Friday before the lesson to let it get to room temperature. Okay, so excellent. Remember, you're kneading, and when you're putting into your special contingencies, explain how you knead. About folding the dough in half, and with the palm of your hand, push the dough away from you, and then quarter turn it and repeat. Okay, so well done. And the next day then we'll be making the reduction sauce and cooking your pasta. And because it's fresh pasta, it only takes about 5-7 minutes if you do it to the right thickness. Okay, if it's too thick, it's going to take longer and it won't cook properly. But if it's to the right thickness or thinness, then it will cook properly and in the amount of time that it should. Okay, good luck, and I want to see a picture again of the dough that you've made at the end so that I can see if you've made it correctly, and I'll be able to tell if you've added in too much water or liquid, because it's quite easy to tell if the pasta, if it's about twice the size of this, or if you've all kind of water around your area. Okay, so remember, drops only if needed of your liquid. Right, good luck, and any questions, just ask.